What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be showing a couple different ways that you can buy a car, the traditional way that people buy a car, and why some ways to buy a car might be better than others. So let's get right into it. So when you get into IBC concept and everybody starts to learn it, they really want to jump in, and once they understand it, they want to starting to attack the things that aren't necessarily plausible in the beginning. How I like to start people is with the car because it's just an easy thing that makes sense to people. We all understand that we're going to need cars throughout our lives, and all we're really trying to accomplish is what is the best way to go about purchasing the cars that we're inevitably going to have to purchase throughout our lives. So a good really way to think about it is you're going to really be buying a car about every 5 years for your lifetime, right? Ideally, you'd be buying a new car every 5 years, not necessarily new, but you're going to need probably a new vehicle every 5 years is what an average statistics are. So when that time comes, there's a few things that you can do. Let's list out the few ways that we already know how you can get a car. The number one way is not the number one, but the first way is to lease a car. You basically just go out and you rent a car. This is by far the worst way to get a car, just because at the end of, we're just using 5 year timeline here, you don't own any of the car. You don't have any collateral to show for the 5 years of monthly payments that you have paid for that car. Now, you don't have a lot of headache. You don't have to deal with major mechanical issues. You can change cars if you don't like it. If anything of that, that's the benefit of it. But other than that, you're losing money. And you can get into like your business owning and leasing and all that to save money, but I'm typically talking like the average consumer goes out and finds a nice car and just rents it. That is honestly the worst way. It's going to eat into the most of your money. Close second is to go to the bank, how we're all used to, and financing a car. Actually, these two make up for about 90% of the population. So again, you're going to do a 5 year loan, but at the end of it, you will have the car. So that's a plus. This one, you don't have the car. You'll have the car to trade in for your next car, but you also paid interest the whole time, and that interest went to the bank. So that's an issue, right? That's a problem that we could potentially solve. The third reason, like I said, this is about 90% of people. About these other three methods, about 10% of people know and utilize, but they are by far the best ways to purchase cars, and I'm going to show you why. So the third way is really like the Dave Ramsey method, where you're paying cash out of pocket for a car. So every 5 years, you save up money and you buy the car. So again, at the end, you'll still have a car. You're still paying interest. This is the part that people don't understand, is you are paying the interest that you could have earned, potential gain lost. So it's also known as opportunity cost. You're losing out on that gain. Another downside with cash is that you're constantly having to capitalize the system. You're constantly having to put money, save money, set money aside. A good graph to show that is just you're saving money, you're saving money, you're saving money, you're saving money, and then you buy your car. And then you have to repeat that cycle every time. And if you're not a disciplined saver, or if something happens where you need to use this cash for something else, you're gonna not be able to afford that car. So that's just one of the downsides about cash. Yes, it's, in my opinion, better than going to the bank, better than leasing it. Some instances I would say going to the bank, but once you understand this system, you'll be like, why did I ever go and do that way before? The fourth way that we like to talk about and that not very many people know about is the CD method. So basically, this means that you're still applying these principles of the cash. You're setting money aside every single month, but you're setting it in a account that's growing, right? It's gaining you interest. So in this one, you're losing out on the potential, but this one, you're capturing the interest along the way. You're better off than if you would have just kept it in cash. So this helps you versus this cash scenario because you have all this extra interest money that you're working with. The thing that people don't realize as well, this is a great way to honestly buy a car, you guys. The methods that I teach are better, but this is still a great way and will set you ahead over 90% of people that lease or go to the bank. So when you use a CD to buy a car, you're basically just partnering with the bank. They're giving you the interest rate. One thing to note is that the bank is a business. So any like dividends, which think of a dividend as like the business does profit goes to shareholders. See, in a CD, you're not a shareholder. You're really just the business. You are giving them money. They're going out and making more money and promising you the interest rate, the spread. Now, the money that they make on the loans on the side, that's what the dividends get distributed to their shareholders. However, those loans perform, how big of a spread they make between these CDs and all this stuff. Because that's all they're really doing, guys. That's why the bank offers a CD in the first place. This is an asset to them. You're giving them a deposit, which is actually a liability to them because they owe you money. And then they go and make loans with your deposit. And the loans are classified as assets. That's so backwards to how we think. But the loans from a bank are considered assets because that's money that's owed to them. It's all money that's staying in their system. If you want to learn more about how to do the CD method, I will be breaking it down a little bit more in another video if you want to take a gander at that. But just know that the principle that you're taking advantage of is that your account is gaining interest during those 5 years, during the capitalization phase that you will be able to use for the car. So just in doing that and saving money like that and earning an interest rate on that, you're way ahead of these other 3 people. Now, let me see if I can display what I mean by your own life insurance policy, where we talk about becoming your own bank and IBC. So you're not changing anything. Like, let's just pretend you're capitalizing this 5K every single year. You're not changing anything. You're just changing how you're going about it. You're not keeping the cash in your house. You're not keeping the cash in a CD. Instead, you're taking the capital and you're putting it into a specially designed whole life policy that grows guaranteed interest and pays you dividends. See, that's the difference between IBC and this CD method, is the fact that, yes, we're taking advantage and earning the interest, but we're also capturing the dividends that the CD is not. Because when you make this contract, you're partnering with the insurance company. So they're paying you the interest, but you're also becoming a shareholder of that company. And the craziest thing is that their business is to insure lives. So the more money you run through this system, the more money the insurance company is going to make, the better they're going to do, the better you're going to do, and it's all a beautiful system that just keeps growing together. It's one of the only systems that's going to help you all along the way. It's not going to make it so you have to continually capitalize. See, the problem with leasing and banks, everybody knows, it wastes a lot of money. There's a lot of cost to financing when you don't have money. You know, there's even people that have money that will go and lease and go to the bank, and they're losing so much money out of their buckets. That's a terrible drawing, but all we're trying to do, guys, with these systems is block the leaks, right? Think about it. There's really two ways that you can make more money in your life. You either figure out how to add more water to your bucket, or you block the leaks. Why not do both? Becoming rich and becoming wealthy involves both of this process. It's a terrible drawing, but it's a good way to explain it. So back to the IBC, what you're doing is you're gaining interest in the contract over time, okay? And then when you go to buy the car, the difference between the CD account and the IBC account is that when you go to buy the car, yes, you've accumulated extra interest, which is going to not drop your account as far. You're not going to start from zero like you would in the cash setup. But in this account, you're not going to drop at all. Because when you leverage this policy, you're going to not interrupt the compound. It's just as if you were having a CD account and they let you use the money while it kept delivering you interest. Like I said, guys, I'd love to go into the numbers on this, and I will in another video. I just wanted to give you the basic breakdown of the 5 ways that people can buy cars and why you should look at IBC as a way to start purchasing your cars. And this method, I'm going to run the math on it in my next video. Take a look in the YouTube on my next video just to see the number breakdown of this. But in a cash, like I said, you're accumulating the whole time. A CD, you're pretty much accumulating the whole time. This system does allow you to basically, it's called a capitalization phase, where you would fund a CD for like $5,000 for the next 7 years, and then you don't have to fund it anymore, and it will pay for your cars like this and give you a little bit of retirement. That's a great method. I'm not arguing that method. I'm arguing you can do the same method in a different system, where the difference is you are a shareholder and getting the dividends. See, when you work with the bank and a CD, you are not a shareholder. You are their business. You aren't a shareholder of the business. That's the real difference in becoming your own bank. One major difference too, if you start looking into this, and that's why I want to break the numbers, is the fact that IBC takes a minute to capitalize. It's in the beginning, your CD is going to look like it's performing better. In the first 10 years, it's going to look like it's better. But the main concept is that the first 10 years don't matter. This is a lifelong journey. This is a lifelong tool that is supposed to help you all throughout your life. A CD might help you in the first 10 years, but as soon as IBC gets capitalized in the first 10 years, it's going to outperform the CD 7-1. And you're going to never run out of money in retirement compared to a CD. You might have 5 to 10 years saved up of retirement. The worst thing you can do is get to retirement and not have enough money. Be scared of not having enough money. I know that is something that is on everybody's minds. Set yourself up early. Start looking into this stuff early. Once it's capitalized, it's a beast. It's a machine. And we show people how to utilize it early, where you are not having to just wait for the 7 years. It's worth taking a look, guys. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out my page, but that's all I'm going to talk about it. The last thing I wanted to share about it before I let you guys go is the fact that a bank has already been established. A bank has already went through the first 10 years of capitalization. When a bank becomes a bank, it takes years. It doesn't just pop up and start lending people money. It has to go through a phase of losing money, just like other businesses, before it starts gaining money. Now, the difference when you build the IBC, the reason it's starting out slow or slower compared to the CD, in my opinion, it's not really slow. What, 80, 90%? You're taking a 10% loss in the first years when you have access to it. to what? End up with a 7x return at the end of it? That's what I'm saying. You're building your own bank. You're building a business, so you need to expect to have a capitalization phase. That's enough for you guys today to digest. I'll see you guys in the next one.